10 maps, I made 40 divines profit, which took me not even an hour and a half to run. I ran 2 versions of this strat to test it, 10 maps each. One focused on scarabs, which is mainly what this video will be about, and the other focused on maps. This is the tab from the scarabs one. These are the 2 tabs from the map focused one. In the scarabs one, I made 40 divines profit. In the maps one, I made over 700 tier 16 maps, 21 of them being the new memory maps, and 15 of them being tier 17, aka 1.5 tier 17s a map. I found this strat when I woke up once I saw a certain Allflame spiking, and made sure to get this video out since I'm not one to hoard info and will always share it as soon as possible. So consider subscribing. I'll have a showcase of this strat at the end of the video. It should be timestamped below if you want to just see how crazy it is. You can skip right there right now. So what's the strat? The strat revolves around this Allflame Ember of the Ethereal combined with the Horn Scarab of Bloodlines and the Betrayal Scarab of the Allflame. We combine it with the Horn Scarab of the Bloodlines because magic mobs are where 90% of your loot will come from, just like the gold farm I posted the other day. You then want to run it on well-rolled memory maps, preferably one that drops the Fortress T17 map, so make sure to favour one of those. You then want to roll for the highest scarab percent chance on your map, just like how you would for tier 17 since we are farming scarabs. I did do one where I farmed maps, but scarabs are much better unless you want to self-farm your own maps. What the Allflame does is it makes it so mobs cannot drop equipment, flasks, or tinctures. What that ends up doing is essentially rolling these would-be drops into better drops, and you get crazy loot explosions like these ones you're seeing right now. Combined with the new memory altars where you can get % more scarabs or increased quant if you run through memory tears, and combined with the new memory abilities, you can get some absolutely crazy loot explosions. If you roll a good memory ability in your map, save it for packs of natural magic mobs, since that's where 90% of your loot will come from. For the tree, it's pretty simple. It's very similar to my gold farming strategy tree. You want to go all the way to the top, take all of the map modifier effect nodes. As always, take all of these clusters. You want to take all of the quant in the center. You want to take Eater of Worlds as always because you want % quant rarity. You want chance to duplicate scarabs, maps, and currency in your maps, and then you come down here and you want to block off whichever league mechanic doesn't have expensive scarabs. For example, I keep ultimatum because it's got a 150c scarab. It's still league start, so legion scarabs are still like 3c and officers are like 9c. Harvest scarab of doubling and cornucopia will always be expensive, and I think there's one exposition scarab which is pretty decent, although I probably blocked this off. Depending on what stage in the league that you're running this strategy, you'd want to block off based on which scarabs are doing better and which scarabs are doing worse. For example, Legion a week into the league will be 100% blocked off. It is only expensive early league. You then want to come up here and take essence scarabs, cartography scarabs, and ambush scarabs, since those are always expensive, and right now that's where a good chunk of your money will come from. But let's see the actual loot. I'll go through my Wealthy Exile, but I also made a Google Doc since Wealthy Exile is not accurate and is mainly for showing the specific loot that I got. This is the main tab, the tab from when I ran the 10 maps with % scarab chance instead of % map chance. I will show the ones from % map chance after. In the % map chance one, I almost filled 2 quad stash tabs in 10 maps, which is absolutely insane. I believe I dropped over 700 maps, but there was something interesting about that I will get into in a second. You can see Wealthy Exile says this is around 55 divines for 10 maps. That's wrong, it's around 65 divines, and I also excluded all of the junk that Wealthy Exile was including, but minus the investment it would end up being like 40 to 45 divines. And I'll show the loot from the other set of 10 that was more map focused. First of all, the difference between the two strategies is I just spec'd out of some scarab % chance nodes on my tree and into more map % chance nodes, and I rolled more maps instead of more scarabs. That was it. I used the same scarab setup and everything. I'll put the different tree in the description if you want to run and farm your own maps. Anyway, this is all of the loot that I got. It's filled about 1 3/4 of quad stash in 10 maps, which is absolutely insane. I had one map where I couldn't even pick up everything in the 6 portals that I had. It's over 700 maps, but there's something interesting. I only dropped 15 tier 17s, which is insane, right? 15 in 10 maps, that's 1.5 per map. But with 700 map drops, and a 6.4% chance with 4 void stones to drop a tier 17. I had 4 void stones, those were my odds. I should have dropped around 44 tier 17s. I dropped 15. That is way below the average of what I should expect. Therefore, I realized that if you were to combine the amount of memory maps that I dropped, which was around 21, to the 15 tier 17s I dropped, that's 36 of those, which is much closer to the 44 tier 17s I should have expected. Therefore, I personally believe that memory maps will eat up some of your tier 17 drops, and that they both use the same 6.4% conversion, which means there will be less tier 17s dropped this league. That is my personal belief. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I just got extremely unlucky on the tier 17 map drops. Before I go into the showcase, I'll quickly go over the docs. As always, it'll be linked in the description. You can see the investment is crazy. I actually bought the Allflames for 40 chaos each, but they almost doubled overnight, so I'll be using that price. The fact that they almost doubled, and as far as I'm aware, are still undiscovered for most people in the community, since I've not seen a video on it, means that as soon as this strat gets popular, whether it's by me or someone else, it's going to get very expensive, and this will get popular as it's extremely fun and extremely profitable. The good news is I made 40 divines profit in an hour, so even if they were to double in price, this is still a very good farm, and I doubt this farm is at all optimized, so there's probably room to make even more currency than I did here. But around 3300 chaos investment or 22 divines for 10 maps, and in scarabs alone I made 7000 chaos, doubling my investment. It's likely more than that, since you can make profit by vendoring these dud scarabs down here and reselling the good ones on Faustus. That's an additional task to do though, so it adds time, and you probably won't want to do that, but you can make a good chunk of money there. You can see I dropped dozens of certain league scarabs like Legion, Ultimatum, and this is why you want to block off league mechanics at the bottom of your tree. The less dud scarabs you drop, the higher chance for better ones, and it's 100% worth it to spend those points blocking off those mechanics rather than taking even more scarab percent chance on your tree. And on the right, you can see I really only included things that are easily sold, such as currency, tier 17s, and Valdos. I did include random tier 16s as they sell for 4 chaos on bulk, but just to make sure I'm not inflating my profit with those, I have the price of them down to 2 chaos, since those would definitely sell out fast at half price. And as you can see, with everything added up, I made 10,700 chaos total in 10 maps, which took just over an hour to run. Minus the investment, this means I made over 40 divines in just over an hour, but money per hour is always influenced by which build you're playing, so the main stat is I made over 4 divines profit per map. Again, everything I've gone over will be linked in the description. I will always make my description as descriptive as possible in case I didn't convey myself correctly in my video, so if you've got any questions right now, odds are it's answered in the description.
What do you hope to find here? Devastation is all that awaits.
Another pig without a pen.